So in a recent blog, I received a question that how do I know when my marriage is over, or would it be wise for me to not give up and just keep put it in there, endure it? And I'll just say it this way: if you have to ask that question, it's not over. And in all probability, you haven't learned all of the different strategies on how to effectively communicate what you want in terms of what they want, and you haven't seen how what they want is helping you get what you want. And you're both probably proudly, arrogantly projecting values onto each other and clashing and labeling each other narcissist or whatever, thinking that, this isn't working for me. But there's a skill of communication and respect. And if you haven't learned and mastered that, I would first try that. I'm not saying that there might not be a time for divorce, because there is. I've seen people that I think the wisest thing to do is to move on. But I wouldn't, if you're having to ask the question, it means you're not certain and you've run out of strategies on how to make the relationship do it. But first you have to make sure that you're not projecting an expectation for them to live in your values. They're not going to. Each individual has a unique set of values, and whatever is highest on your values and on your partner's values, whatever that is, that's what they're committed to. If I was to take the things that my girlfriend has, my wife passed away, if I was to take the thing my girlfriend has as her highest value and try to impose my values onto her and say, you need to do this, you should be doing this, you ought to be doing this, you got to do this, have to do this, must do this, supposed to do this, I would alienate her, push her right out into somebody else's arms because she doesn't feel love for who she is. And if I was to have that done to me, I'd feel the same way. I'd be looking at options. Because when you feel that both your values are being met, you're close. You get oxytocin and vasopressin, you feel trust, and you get together. When you don't feel like your values are being met, you end up thinking, this isn't working for me. So a great question to ask yourself before you throw in the towel is to ask, what exactly are the values that my partner or spouse is dedicated to? What is their life demonstrating it's important to them? Because that's what's important to them. That's what their identity revolves around. Go and do the value determination process on my website. See if you can't get your partner to do the same, and get real about what's important and talk to them about it. Find out. Go to your partner and say, look, for some reason I haven't been living with respecting all about what you're committed to. If I knew exactly what was important to you, it would really help me. And I want to learn how to communicate what I want in terms of what you want so we can both get what we want. So find out what their values are, find out what your values are, and then ask, how is their top three values helping you fulfill your top three values? And how is your top three values helping them fulfill theirs? If you can't answer that, you got a problem in your relationship because you're going to want to fix each other. But if you can answer that, the more you make the links, the more you see that, the more powerful the relationship become. I was in Tokyo, and we had 66 people in a values training program where I train people on how to apply values in these types of situations. And out of the 66 people, we paired off into 33 couples. Those people didn't know each other when they paired off. And then I had them do the value linking process, the top three values to the top three values for a few hours, 3 hours work. And when they got through, 27 of the 33 were doing business with each other afterwards. And they had more love and respect and dialogue between each other. So don't throw in the towel if you haven't done at least the simple exercise on how to communicate in each other's values and learning what's really important to them. Everybody wants to be loved for who they are. They don't want to be fixed. And if you have a fantasy and you're having an affair with a fantasy person that you're trying to make the person into, just know you're having an affair. You're not loving them, who they are, according to their values. You're comparing them to a fantasy, and they can't win. So calm your fantasies down, get grounded, find out what they really value, and know before you get married, know what's really important to them. So you're not trying to make them into a fantasy that you fantasize that they're supposed to live in your values. It's a waste of time to try to get somebody to live in your values and you try to live in their values. You learn to communicate what you value in terms of them. And then maybe come to the breakthrough experience and learn how to do the Demartini method, which is a method of conflict resolution. If you haven't learned that, It holds you accountable to see what you see in them inside you. So you're not pointing your finger at them, you're looking at yourself. In Romans 2:1 in the New Testament, it says, beware you judge, beware, for what you judge in others, you do the same. So look carefully, because by doing the Demartini method that I teach at the Breakthrough Experience, you'll be more likely to respect the individual and have reflective awareness. If you link the values and you do that method before you throw in the towel, you might not need to throw in the towel. You might start to appreciate the person. When you love people for who they are, they turn into who you love. So don't throw in the towel until you've done what you can. You won't feel complete if you haven't tried everything. And there's a lot more strategies that you probably haven't come across. Try some of those strategies. If you need some help, come to the Breakthrough Experience so I can show you exactly how to do those. And it might do it. Just like the people in Breakthrough, there's been many, many marriages and relationships that are about to split that were able to be stabilized because they learned how to communicate with respect and dialogue. So just don't throw in the towel until you've done everything you can. If you have to ask the question, it's not quite time to leave.